The Punch mission is a mission to look at the corona and the solar wind and to take movies of it so we can see what features are coming towards us. Punch stands for polarimeter to unify the corona and heliosphere. And so we have different cameras. We have four spacecraft. Each spacecraft has a camera on it. There's one spacecraft that has the NIFI camera, which is the narrow field of view imager, which is going to look closest to the sun, and it looks at the solar atmosphere, which is called the corona. And then we have three wide field imagers, and those look further out to see where the corona becomes the solar wind, which is the material that escapes from the sun and expands all throughout our solar system. And that's what reaches Earth and interacts with the Earth's field and the Earth's particle space environment. And so there are four imagers. One's on we have a NIFI on one spacecraft, and we have three WIFIs each on separate spacecraft. And so the NIFI gets the middle view, and at any given instant in time, the Wi-Fi cameras, the wide field ones, look and see different parts of the sky, and then they build up an image of like that whole outer ring, those three different wide field ones, and we stitch all four together to make one big wide view of the corona and a good portion of the inner heliosphere. Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. I
So
can
there's
hear you.
four spacecrafts that are going to launch.
Yeah.
Are you launching this Sunday, is it, or when are you
Yeah,
expected to
right
launch?
now the launch is scheduled for Sunday. It has slipped back. We are launching from California from the Vandenberg Air Force Base. And so it's like in the middle of California. We're right near the coast, and we're on a SpaceX rocket. So,
Wow, neat. Okay, so Southwest Research Institute helped build and design the rockets that you guys are going to use. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
could
yeah.
you
It's
explain more about how, that was built here in
yeah.
San Antonio and about that?
Yeah, well, we have a new facility from the Space Systems Division. They built a whole new building where they are building the spacecraft, and they do all of the testing, all the different types of testing, like vibration testing, thermal testing, and checking some of the electrical work, all inside one building. And so they built all four spacecraft in that building, and then the institute also built the three Wi-Fi, which are the wide field imager cameras, as well, all in San Antonio.
How long did that take to build, and how long have you guys been working on like that project?
Oh, it's been many years. I don't even know if I remember when we when we started, but yeah, definitely. These are projects that take years to do, and it takes so many people, and the scientists. A lot of what we do comes in later once we start getting the data. But it takes the work of all kinds of different jobs, and I would really like to highlight that we have some people that help with just scheduling, help us organizing the time management and the progression of the timeline. We have people that manage budgets. We have engineers and programmers and administrators. We have people that help us order parts, people that assemble parts, and we have scientists as well. That now the scientists do are involved some in the early phases because we have to help with the design specs. We have to help them know what are the conditions that the instruments have to operate in, and that kind of thing. And so definitely these are projects that take a long time and they take so many people. And that's not even including the launch the people that working on the rocket for the launch, that's a lot of people as well. That's a lot of engineers and technicians on that. So I think sometimes people don't realize how big these projects are, but they're very big.
How many people do you think worked on this project specifically in
Oh,
the San Antonio office?
oh, in the San Antonio office, oh man, there must have been, I don't know, probably at least 30, 40 people, maybe. I think it's kind of in that ballpark because we have a few scientists and we have a lot of engineers and a lot of technicians. And then a lot of the planning and organizing that's there were people involved in that and the budgeting as well.
How did you guys get the spacecraft from San Antonio to California?
Oh.
How big are they kind of?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So uh like the spacecrafts themselves are about the size of like a regular desk. So they're a little wide. I can't quite in the field this field of view. They're only like about this wide. We have on site here we have some models of them. But yeah, no, the spacecrafts the spacecrafts themselves are not that big. The instruments take up a large portion of the spacecraft. Yeah, so they're not that big. You would be surprised. These are some of the very it's not some of the smallest spacecrafts that are launched. Those are typically called CubeSats, but these are definitely a small sat. And so there are some advantages of having these smaller spacecraft because it takes less resources. Sometimes they're easier to launch. So an interesting thing about the Punch mission is that we're going to low Earth orbit, and the commercial industry has developed a lot more capability to launch and get into low Earth orbit. And some of the previous mission, Stereo, had some of these larger imagers to look at the solar wind, similar to the Wi-Fi, but they went further out. So we're testing the ability to use these heliospheric imagers in low Earth orbit, but we have to stitch the view together. And so the interesting thing that could come about this, it could make this kind of mission cheaper and easier to launch if we can demonstrate this capability in low Earth orbit. So it's actually, that's a really exciting thing because there are so many launches going to low Earth orbit now.
Are these so they're really small? Are they going up in a on a big rocket
Yeah,
or
we are going on a pretty big SpaceX rocket. So what they've done is they have this ring attachment device. It's called an ESPA ring, um, and Punch is on below is on that is connected to that, and then they have mounted the SphereX spacecraft on top of us, and we are the ride along. SphereX is the prime mission. SphereX is an astrophysical mission for the astrophysics part of NASA is doing that, and so we're riding along with them, and so that's something that got the cost of doing the Punch mission down as well because we were taking advantage. They were able to fit us in and then launch us on the same spacecraft. So that's been a huge cost saving. The head of the heliophysics section at NASA. So the Punch mission is part of heliophysics division at NASA. He actually said that was millions of dollars, maybe tens of millions of dollars saved by combining the two and launching on the same launch vehicle. So that's a new, that's a more recent thing that they've been combining and doing multiple missions on the same rocket. So that's definitely good too.
are these unmanned or is anybody going
Yeah,
up
these
in?
are these are unmanned missions, but a lot of the manned missions are in low Earth orbit. Yeah, like when they send like this, the space station is flying through Earth's ionosphere, which is the ionized part of Earth's atmosphere, that's considered like a space part of space environment. It's right near Earth. Yeah.
So it's expected to go up on Sunday, right? How long is
Yeah.
the whole overall mission?
Well, we have funding for 2 years, but we have the capability to operate for much longer than that. If we're able to get additional funding later and everything's still working. If everything's still working, we can apply for additional funding, and but it's anticipated that it could last longer than the 2 years. It has the capability to do that.
So the spacecraft's going to go up, the four of them, and then they're going to stay there for 2 years in low orbit.
Yeah, low Earth orbit. Yeah, so they'll just keep circling around. They're kind of going along the dawn dusk terminator, like you know how if you've seen where they show what the Earth look like from space, and you can see it's day on one side and night on one side. So we're going to be along that line, just doing circles around the Earth.
How do you get the spacecraft back to Earth?
Oh, yeah. So eventually there'll be like um, a re-entry point. Um, and so they burn up. Yeah. So we won't collect the spacecraft, but they have told us that they are collecting like they're on the SpaceX rocket, they're launching it and they're recovering the rocket part of the rocket. But yeah, these spacecraft they'll end up burning up. But but the good news is that because we are doing this in low Earth orbit, um, it it's not it's easier to get to low Earth orbit. So we're demonstrating that we'll be able to do this in a cost-effective manner in the future.
How can we watch the launch? Is it going to be
Oh,
streamed on?
it's definitely going to be streamed online. I think it's if you search on YouTube for NASA TV, it'll be on there. Our launches in the evening. I think in California time, I think it's close to seven, like seven something p.m. So we have a night launch. So it'll be really late on, it'll be later on Central Time. So it'll be nine something on Central Time. And but yeah, and also if you have NASA TV through your cable network, it'll be on there as well. And yeah, so it'll be exciting. I don't know if they're going to show the recovery, but yeah, they're going to recover that rocket too. So
Okay,
yeah, that'll
awesome.
be yeah,
We may
that'll be
stream it on our station if we can get, or at least on our Facebook page if we can get access
yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
and y'all can get the recording too,
Okay,
and yeah,
that'd be
play
great.
it. Yeah.
Um, Forgot my question. Oh, it's definitely on Sunday, or is there a chance it gets pushed back?
Okay,
Or
it can always be pushed back because there's so many different things, parts of the rocket and everything, and they have monitoring devices to monitor various things, and they're also monitoring the weather as well, and so we don't know you don't know for sure until it goes. That's the way it is. And so like I have to go to another meeting, so I'm really rooting for Sunday. So I have to fly on Monday to go to another meeting.
so
So
hopefully it's Sunday. Hopefully the weather's good. Uh,
yeah, I already changed my travel twice already. So
is there another any other future projects Southwest Research Institute is working on, additional space launches, or
oh,
is this like the main one that?
yeah, we have the IMAP mission, which is going to launch, which is scheduled to launch in late September. That one's going to launch from Cape Kennedy, but it's going to be another SpaceX rocket. And we've built several instruments for that mission. And then there's also a ride along on that one that's a mission for NOAA that's going to look at the space weather. And we built one of the instruments was built at our New Hampshire office, and the other was built again in San Antonio. So that rocket, we have stuff on two missions, and again, they're getting efficient use of these rockets.
Awesome. So there's a lot of different missions that Southwest Research Institute is
Yeah,
working
we
on. It's not
we
just this one.
oh yeah, we're continually doing lots of missions and proposing to get new missions. Yeah, we're very busy.
Awesome. Yeah. I think Deb just said we have an instrument landing on the surface of the moon Sunday morning too.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah. So
things
we
going
have,
on that come from San
yeah.
Antonio that are worked on here.
Yeah, we are trying to get even more lunar missions too. Um yeah,
Is San
it's
Antonio one of the main cities, I guess, working on space research, would you say, or
yeah, we have become our own force. And because we've grown a lot. Like when I came to the institute, um we were sharing a building with another division. Now, I think on campus we have like 4 or 5 buildings. We even have a machine shop that has these like robotic machining where they can make parts robotically. So we have a building for that now. That didn't exist when I came. We have this whole new facility where they build entire spacecraft and test them all in one building. Um, we took over a building that another vision was using, and then we built for offices and some smaller labs, and then we have 2 other office buildings with labs too. And I think we have a few small outbuildings as well. So, and then the Boulder office has grown a lot. I work really closely with the Boulder office. I work on with the Boulder office on the Punch mission and on the New Horizons mission. That New Horizons was the mission that flew past Pluto and a Kuiper Belt object, and now it's still going, and it's going to the outer part of the Earth's heliosphere. So as this material comes off the sun, it it moves throughout our solar system, and then eventually it starts to interact with material from interstellar space, and so the whole region that's kind of uh, dominated by material that's coming off the sun is called the heliosphere. And so we're moving out towards the termination shock, where the solar wind kind of slows down because it's now starting to interact with the interstellar material. And so in we're expecting to cross that. So we're planning now to figure out if we can get better data for that termination shock crossing. So hopefully in a few years, that will happen as well.
all right, definitely seems like a growing thing here at the Research
Yeah,
Institute.
yeah, there are some other cities. So we have the Boulder office in Colorado. Colorado's a big hub between Boulder and Denver. There's a lot of space industry there. There's a good chunk in Berkeley, California, and near Los Angeles, and in the DC area with the Applied Physics Lab. We work a lot with the Applied Physics Lab as well. So there are some hubs all across the country, and um, you know, um, and SpaceX is doing a lot in Texas, not so much in San Antonio, but in Austin and down in far South Texas near Brownsville, as well. So Texas is the whole state of Texas is definitely a leader because you also have Houston as well with Johnson Center. So Texas is definitely expanding and turning out to be a leader in part of the space economy. The space economy is one of the fastest growing part of the U.S. economy, and the kind of work we do is largely funded under the heliophysics portion of the NASA budget, and then NOAA does the Space Weather Prediction Center, and so we do some work with NOAA under the space weather prediction.